here with Béa Beste. Béa is in Berlin. Great to have you, Béa, on this chat line, and I'm in Sydney. And again, we're looking forward to the opportunity to hear from you, to learn from you. I know that your normal full-time role in life, when it's not sort of in a pandemic shutdown, is that you are an incredible encourager. You're a person that loves to travel. You're a person that loves to inspire other people. But I know that you'll actually have lots of wisdom for people as they listen to this series as well. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I'm honored to be with you.
Okay, so let's just take the scenario of a family that's going into prolonged shutdown, who's just not coping. What would be the first bit of advice you give to that family who is sort of reaching the limits already of what they can cope with? What would be the pressure release that you would like to say to them?
When you talk about advice, I wouldn't start with an advice. I would start with listening to all of them. And I would encourage some listening among each other, because I think in the face of new situation, it's a very stressful situation that we have. Actually, each of us wants to be seen with his sorrows, also maybe somebody might find it thrilling, you know. And people sometimes go on each other's nerves because everybody has his own perspective and cannot understand the other perspective. So I would start with deep listening, just letting people talk and understanding what's good, what's bad, what's thrilling, what's making them cry. So this would be my first point. And I would, so my main idea is it's also a huge opportunity for growth and a huge opportunity for learning, what we are doing right now. So the first step would be let's start after listening, after understanding each other, let's start to go into an observation modus, how we can function. And a lot of people are now totally stressed by phone calls and a full schedule. And then you have so many tips coming in, newsletters and tweets and whatever, with things against boredom. And everybody goes like, I'm sorry, which boredom? There is no boredom at the moment. It's rather a stressful situation, and everybody has full schedules trying to run off the schedules. So I would go into this observation situation and try to really find out, what are you guys? So a full family, let's take kind of 5 people. So you might have among these 5 people, 2 planners and 3 time surfers, you know? And if you're a planner, you're gonna get totally mad with the time surfers, because the time surfers are gonna pick up the phone and say, okay, what's now and what's now, and oh, the homework, and I don't know, and they're all over the place. And the planner wants to know, we're getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning and we're doing that, and coffee break has until there. And this is an observation modus because every person is individual. And starting with time, what kind of guy are you? Do you want to time serve, or do you want to plan? Or are we going to find together as a group, as a co-learning group, a mix of all of this? And that's the first thing. Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's step back from the family. If you're then thinking about the teachers who are sort of caught into this new world, which they didn't expect to be in 4 weeks ago, they're feeling stressed. What are the questions that they should be asking of themselves and where they work? What do you think are some of those key questions which are important at this time?
First of all, I would go into self-reflection. What do I want for myself? Because if I'm a teacher and an unhappy person, I'm gonna hand over this unhappiness to all my kids. On the other side, I can't force myself to be a happy person when I'm not. So doing some self-reflection and find the attitude, how I want to talk to people. Am I going to be somebody who's the total mood thing and take animals out and do the fun thing? That would be me. Another person might be a very honest person, telling the others, I'm stressed too. It's a new situation for me. I have sorrows. So that would be me, and communicate all the things. So first do the reflection work and then start to be authentic with the kids. And one more, sorry for talking too much, but one more, not trying to fulfill the expectation of a ministry, of the others, or something else, trying to go to the depth of each person and find out how can I be my best self in that moment. And that's a little bit of reflection and self-work at the beginning. Do you get me?
Okay, so just take this scenario. You've got teachers who have been very faithfully teaching according to the guidelines that they've been expected to do. They've been delivering content, they've been managing their classes well, but they've found it very hard to move into a more creative space. How might we encourage those people to shift from one mode into a more creative mode? Are there any suggestions, any tricks of the trade that you can suggest there as a person who is a highly creative thinker?
I think it's very difficult to do that. You know, all the things like relax and be spontaneous and be creative, the more you tell them that, the more they will feel like, okay, I'm totally failing. I lost my support system, and now somebody tells me that I'm wrong with not being spontaneous and creative and everything. And at a certain point, I think the best thing would be, again, reflection, and try to find out, maybe in a kind of ranking, what gives me security, what gives me structure, and where is maybe one little step where that I can put aside and do something creative. And now I want to become more concrete. For instance, I need my schedule, I need my task, I need my curriculum, I need my kids to do some homework. But where can I free a little bit of something? Where can I introduce something that is, and maybe not forever, I don't need to take decisions forever. Try and experiment with one thing. What if I give them 1 day free of homework? What if I give them 2 days free of homework? Why if I go on one point where I choose 1 day where I tell the kids, I have a task in the curriculum and I have myself no clue about why is this in the curriculum? What should we learn together? And let's do it together. So baby steps.
I'm just wondering now what you think the homeschooling movement, which has been in place in many countries around the world, might be able to share with the remote learning world. People have been thrown into online, offline immediately when they didn't expect to become a homeschooling parent. Or
okay, now I got you.
Or a homeschooling teacher, yes.
Okay, so you see the homeschooling world, which is not what we're doing now in times of Corona. So what happens at the homes now is not homeschooling, because the homeschooling world was a decision from the parents. They were very clear that they wanted to do it. It didn't come overnight to them and they had to do it. So it was a deliberate decision with resources, with preparation and everything. And then now we have the remote learning world. What's happening right now, where parents and teachers have been thrown into, and that's a kind of an emergency, a crisis situation. And now, of course, if we look at the resources and at the principles of the homeschooling world that has been running for a couple of years, of course that the parents who are now in that crisis situation can learn a lot from that. And the most important, did I get your question or not?
Yeah, quite? Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, well, I'm keen to hear what you think they can learn. Yes.
I think they can learn, first of all, that you don't learn for tests, you learn for life. I think the most important thing is that the homeschooling world functions on curiosity, on researching thing, of going after things, not having subjects and timetables and all that structure, finding its structure. It's not that the homeschoolers do not have any structures, they have a lot. They share, they have support systems, they have learning groups, they have teaching materials, but they give a lot more individuality and also more empowerment also to the learners to find their own way of learning, to find their means of learning, to find their places of learning. And now, in order to not talk about totally abstract things, I heard about a lot of parents at home at the moment who are drilling their kids, like, go and sit at the table when you're doing your schoolwork and be in front of the computer and do it. And when I say, what would the homeschool work say? That you can learn anytime, anywhere, in any position. You can lie on the floor, you can sit on a sofa and all that. You can start with that little bits and bytes. And it is the good old relax now and let it a little bit go. But it's the principle of finding out who you are and how do you learn at your best.
Okay, yeah, very interesting. Now, I know that you're a passionate advocate for co-learning. Do you want to share a bit about that whole concept? How does it work and how might it be of benefit at this particular time?
Yes, it's not only about the team thing. So co-learning is a deep understanding of why we cannot teach our kids anything in this world, and we can reach together higher goals, better goals, and a better learning in general. That's co-learning. The idea of co-learning has a lot with eye height in common, so on eye height concepts. So the idea is to get out of this idea of the cascade of learning, of the older are teaching the younger and so on, and to really get together in that curiosity modus and a play modus where you find out about things and you enrich the group with any talents, any tools, any findings, any research. I don't know, is this too abstract or do you get it?
No, that's interesting. I know that you've also written a book, you have a book about it. Feel free to share that.
Okay, unfortunately in German, this book, it's called in German, Gemeinsam schlau statt einsam büffeln, which means together smart instead of learning in your own parcel for yourself. And this book is not for teachers at the moment. So this book is only for the parents. We're writing again the next book for the teachers. But the idea at the core of it is how can you reprogram yourself that you get out of that old school modus hanging in the back of your head and getting into this more modern, more collaboration oriented, play oriented, relaxed way of understanding the world. So that's the book. And if I might add a thing, the book is structured in actually 3 things. The first of all, the first part is about understanding how a learner develops, understanding your child. Then understanding the relationship, the learning relationship that you have with your kids. And you need also a little bit of transaction analysis to understand the parent eye, the adult eye and the child eye, and to get on to forget the parent eye, actually, to forget about how to parent your kids and be a child yourself, or get your kids on an adult eye height in order to resolve the problems you have. And basically half of the book, the third part, consists of play. Creative play with learn effect that you can do together. And people told me this book is for age group 5 to 10, but I have now trainers who told me, and people in schools who told me that all these games are perfect also for any kind of team building, team creative play also with adults.
Okay, well, that sort of opens up the area I wanted to go to at the end of our time now, and that's some tips for people who, I mean, you're a bundle of energy and a bundle of fun. Okay, we've got people who would love to be able to perhaps even homeschool, who've been inspired by different opportunities, but they're stuck in their apartment or their house going through. What do you think some families can do to rediscover fun and to rediscover that play?
I think it's not very easy for people who are in this role of I'm the adult, I need to take decision, I'm the parent, to rediscover the fun, because sometimes we are so focused on what we want to reach that we forgot that we've been a child ourselves. And the point is, you can learn that, or you can unlearn being an adult and relearn being a kid, and remember how you were as a kid, or by observing your child how he, she, they, is something like that, reacts to things, to be more in a childlike modus. And there are strategies very simple that you might forget, but once you heard them, you might remember again. Like, for instance, when you feel tense and you need us to do something, try with a song, try with a dance, try grabbing, and I have this animal here, try not to tell it yourself. Listen, guys, hello, I'm Amore, and I can talk, and if I don't like things, I might even puke, you know, or I can eat my feet, right? And this is one thing where I make the experience that whoever is using that little guy in my family, also when my daughter Karina was a child, when you have the impression the atmosphere is tense and somebody brings in a little animal, it can be also a live animal in there, you can create moments of relaxation and then try another way to approach things. And the second thing is, and that's a hard job, is to playfully get out of the idea of perfection and to try to think, what is so bad about, I don't know, a dirty kitchen? Or what is so bad of not having performed on a homework for the kids? And to try to say, it's okay like it is. What do I learn from that? So that's another strategy where you can introduce the element of fun. There are a lot of strategies that are so simple sometimes. Change the language if you have another language in your family, you know. Try to speak in another language. Puedo hablar español en un momento. No hace nada si ninguna persona me comprende. I said that it's not a problem if you don't understand me. But sometimes change the modus. And kids can do that, and kids get it more quickly. So they might have a switch. And if you don't remember to do that, you can have a piece of paper with a switch, and you can ask your kids to switch something in you. So maybe if you notice that you're going to tense, put a paper on the wall with a switch, and your kids can push, like, change the language, change to song, change to dance, change to sign language, do something else. And this is not a game, this is just play. And I differentiate game and play. Yeah, and this is playful, but the moment when you get a smile, it's the moment where you relax and rethink things. Not to forget the very old thing with change your perspective. Get into another corner of the room, get on a chair, look at the world and what's happening now from another perspective. It's I could talk for ages, but you need to ask.
No, I think you've left us on a really, really good note there. The idea that as adults, we can be the adult that changes. We can be the person that actually finds the fun. We can be the person that finds the play again. And I think, you know, during a prolonged period of opportunity together, I think, you know, this is something that, you know, we can't imagine has ever happened in history recently, where there's families around the world have all been thrown together and can, I guess, re-find that playfulness as people that we all certainly had. Thank you very much for your thoughts and your wisdom. I'm sure they will have been very much appreciated by the people who've listened to this recording. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, Stephen. You got me also with your questions some more room for other ideas. So I might develop from your questions and other ideas in a couple of days. Thank you so
Perfect.
much. And also a big thank you for your work at Learnlife, to the whole team of Learnlife. I think you guys are doing amazing things.
Thank you.